Generative AI, an introduction, brought to you by the Mississippi State University Center for Teaching and Learning and the Mississippi State University Data Science Program. Part 3, Plugins for ChatGPT. ChatGPT, up until just a few weeks ago, could not talk to the web. It was trapped in the things that it learned up through September of 2021, but all that has changed in the last few weeks. So there are plugins for GPT now, and it has a web-enabled mode. So if you use GPT and ask it a current question before this, here's what it would say. So I said, what is the most recent nuclear plant to go online in the United States? It said, I'm sorry, but as an AI model developed by OpenAI, my training only includes information up to September 21. I can't provide real-time updates, etc. It's smart enough to say, check the Nuclear Regulatory Commission. So you can see it does not have access to the web. The essential model does not. But this is just, now you can use the paid model. And what you do is you say, I want a new chat, and then you go up and you choose GPT-4, and then you choose that you want to browse with Bing, which is the search engine that it uses. And then I ask the same question, what is the most recent nuclear plant to go online in the United States? It browsed, and if you open this little tab, it does show you where it browsed and what search text it used. It said the most recent nuclear plant to go online in the United States is the nuclear unit Vogtle 3, which was connected to the grid in Georgia in April of 2023. That just happened. And if there's a little, you might see the little green one there, there's a footnote, and if you click on it, it will show you, and I also expanded there, you can see the Bing search that it used. It says the U.S. nuclear power reactors by capacity 2023 from a site called Statista. And so you can check, do you trust Statista? Maybe, maybe not, but it does at least tell you where it got its information so that you can check it out and, assess it yourself. So that's a very helpful thing that it can search the web now. There's a GPT-4 plugin that will allow you to search PDFs as well. So you use the system, you turn on the plugins, and I said, please summarize the main points of this PDF. And I gave it a PDF, a link to a PDF on the whitehouse.gov. So this is the United States White House. They have a blueprint for an AI Bill of Rights. And it used a plugin called Ask Your PDF, and it gave me all the main points out of the PDF, and this is all real. It summarized the contents of the PDF. You could use this with scientific papers. Anytime you see a paper online, you could say, please summarize this paper, paste it in, and it would summarize it for you. It's amazing. Another one, I tried one with numbers in it to see how it would do. I went to the Mississippi Department of Employment Security. I copied the link of the PDF for their covered employment and wages report, and I said, please summarize the average annual wages in the manufacturing sector based upon this PDF. And you have to keep in mind, this PDF is about 150, 160 pages long. It contains the wages for every industry. So you could have, you could have the hospitality industry, you could have manufacturing like I was asking about, you could have agriculture. And so then it came back, the average annual wages for the calendar year 2021 as per the PDF are, and it gave me a list of all of the manufacturing occupations along with their annual salary. I noticed at the end it said, please note these figures represent the average annual wages for different subsectors, but the whole sector is this. And then really cool, it said these figures were found on pages 8, 9, and 10 of the PDF document. So out of 160 pages, I really needed 3 pages. And even if I didn't trust GPT, at least I could go and see those pages myself. Now I did check it. The only thing I noticed is that it didn't excerpt every single occupation. So everything that it excerpted was correct, but it left out some occupations. It just kind of gave me a hodgepodge, but all the occupations were from the manufacturing sector. It just didn't give me all of them. So that's kind of interesting, I thought. So this is a very fascinating thing that you can do with plugins. And let me just break away from the presentation and show you that live so you can see what that really looks like. So if I go to ChatGPT, and if you say new, and I'm logged in now, if I say new chat, it gives me the chance to choose GPT 3.5, which is the free model, or GPT 4. And if I choose 4, I can also say browse with Bing or plugins. And so I'm going to go to plugins. And then it shows you the plugins that are currently active. I can see that I'm using VoxScript, which is really great. It actually allows you to summarize videos. I'll show you that in a minute. Ask Your PDF is the one that I used for the PDF process here. Show Me, which draws diagrams. Block Atlas is one that's going to have US Census data. It's not perfect yet, but it's there at least. I've tested it. Wolfram, which allows you to ask mathematical questions, etc. And then you click on Plugin Store, and you can see now they have a large ecosystem that's forming around GPT, and people are writing plugins. This will take a minute to load because there's lots of new plugins. You can think of this kind of like the App Store, but it provides capabilities to your instance of GPT at the time you're using it. And you can see the ones that I've installed already, or say uninstall. And Scholar AI, Unleash Scientific Research, search 40 million peer-reviewed papers. Okay, well, let's install that one. I've never done this before, so this is live without a net. And I'm going to go back here and choose Scholar AI, turn it on. I'm going to turn off the other ones. It's a little bit easier to turn off the ones you're not using. So I have Scholar AI, and I'm going to say now, recommend a scholarly paper that was published in the last year about the health effects of vitamin D. And let's just see if we get anything back from this plugin. And when you're using plugins, what it will usually do is it will, based upon your prompt, it'll choose whether to use a plugin and then which one. So you see it says using Scholar AI, which is great. And as I expand it here, you can see what happens. Vitamin D health effects. What really happened is that GPT interpreted my statement in natural language, produced a more deterministic prompt for that plugin, gave that prompt over to the plugin, and then got the information back and then summarized it for me. So I'm going to close that up so you can kind of hide the plumbing here a little bit. It says, here are some recent scholarly papers on the health effects of vitamin D, comparing the evidence from observational studies and randomized controlled trials for non-skeletal health effects of vitamin D by William Grant, Barbara Boucher, Fahmi Al-Anoudi, and Stefan Pills, published on 9/15/2022. It draws results from observational studies, and it gives me a PDF link. And let's click on that and see if it's a real article. So I'm going to click on it. It goes to MDPI, and I got the real article comparing the evidence from observational studies and randomized controlled trials for non-skeletal health effects of vitamin D. So you can see already that people are producing products that have particular audiences, and this is something that you can already do in the library by going to the journal articles using EBSCO Discovery, but it's just a new way for you to look for things that might be useful to see. So you can see it keeps going, and it's recommending several articles here. Really easy to access. I thought they're doing a good job here. So I'm going to go ahead and hit stop generating. And now we're back to the presentation. If you're just using the model without plugins, it often will give you accurate information about things for which it has a lot of data. So here I said, please suggest a list of 5 books that are essential reading about the history of orality. If you cannot provide exact citations, please do not invent titles and simply provide general advice. So you can see there I tried my trick of avoiding hallucination. And it gave me 5 good examples. Orality and Literacy by Walter Ong. This is a classic, of course. The Singer of Tales by Albert Lord. The Muse Learns to Write, Reflections on Orality and Literacy from Antiquity to the Present by Eric Havelock. Memory and Oral Traditions by David Rubin, and then The Oral Tradition Today, An Introduction to the Art of Storytelling by Ruth Finnegan. Now, I thought it was interesting, when I checked it out, that was an actual book written by someone else, and Ruth Finnegan is an actual scholar of orality, but she did not write that book, so that's kind of an oops. So you can see what I said next. I asked the system, can you ensure that all of those titles match the authors? And it said, you're right, and I apologize for the mistake. Here are the corrected book and author pairings. And as you go down, you can see what happened. It pulled a real Ruth Finnegan title, Oral Literature in Africa. So instead of giving me the actual author of the previous book, which was a real one, it gave me one of Ruth Finnegan's actual books. So you can kind of see, I think that's probably why my hallucination avoidance prompt didn't work completely, because the title itself was a real title. So you can see what happens if you're searching it without the web or without a plugin, that you might get really good results. And a lot of these are very old works, kind of classics in the field, maybe outdated, but still, they're interesting, and you might not have heard of one of them, and even there would be useful to you. So pretty interesting contrast between using plugins and not using plugins. It can also plan a trip itinerary. If you have the plugins or the web enabled, it will use those and try to find the best lodging. It'll Google for the best restaurants in the town you're going to. But I just decided to just use the model by itself, and it can do this with GPT 3.5 or 4. And then you can kind of see the amount of detail that I gave it. Please provide a travel itinerary, including lodging and restaurants, for a 4-day car trip from Starkville, Mississippi to the Oak Ridge National Laboratory. We are leaving on June 19th, 2023. Our budget is $40,000 for the whole trip. There are 4 students and a faculty member. The faculty member will stay in a separate room. The students will be able to pair up. 1 student is a vegetarian. We need to avoid fast food, but our budget is only $11 per person per meal. We would love to see any significant scientific or geological sites along the way. We have no activities planned for the travel days, but would like to arrive at Oak Ridge by 8:00 p.m. on the first day and depart at 10 o'clock on the last day after having a meal of pancakes. And so that's kind of my prompt, and you can see day 1. Day 1, 7 o'clock a.m. depart, 10:30 arrive in Tupelo, have breakfast at Connie's Chicken. So it gave us 3.5 hours to get to Tupelo. Definitely don't need 3.5 hours to get to Tupelo, but that's kind of what it did there. 11:30 a.m. leave Tupelo. 2:30 arrive at Shiloh Military Park in Tennessee. Take a break and tour the sites. 4 o'clock p.m. leave. 5:30 have dinner at the Tomato Head in Knoxville, Tennessee. They offer several vegetarian-friendly options within your budget. I'm not sure how far that is from where we're going. This may be completely bonkers if you know Tennessee geography. Depart Knoxville. Arrive at Oak Ridge. Check in at the Town Place Suites by Marriott, Knoxville, Oak Ridge. The faculty member will have a studio, while the students will have 2-bedroom suites to share. And I did check, that's a real hotel that has these kinds of lodging. So, it won't all be perfectly accurate, but the nice thing is it will often give you correct estimates on time. It'll often give you, real restaurants. I have noticed that it thinks that Veranda is still open, so it'll often suggest eating at Veranda in Starkville if you're not using the live version, if you're just using the model that can't search the web. You can also, another plugin I found allows you to create charts. So I said, please create a Gantt chart illustrating the process for landscaping a backyard to build a gazebo and raised beds. And you can see that it used the Show Me plugin, which is the one you use to generate charts. And it gave me a chart, that has planning, site preparation, construction, finishing, and it gave me all the overlapping tasks that have to be completed before you can actually create a gazebo in the backyard. And then it described a schedule and how you could complete it. So that might be helpful. You could say, give me a mind map for the field of geology. You could say, give me a map showing the steps that it takes to submit an NIH proposal. I mean, these are the kind of things that it can draw charts for, and you can edit the charts later. One of the most powerful ones I found is VoxScript. It's a great plugin, VoxScript. And I said, please summarize the YouTube video at this URL. And this is an hour, a 42-minute long video about learning as an economic development engine. And I said, please summarize the video. I pasted in the YouTube video link, and it gave me a nice transcription. It didn't give me a transcription. What it does is it transcribes the video in the background, and then they interpret the transcription and give me a summary of what everyone says. So this time it gave me a list of all the presenters, which is accurate. It also went through the video, and it got maybe 30 minutes of audio maybe 3 or 4 minutes at a time, and then it analyzed those, and then it produced a nice summary of what everyone said in the video. So it's kind of amazing that we live in a world where you can type in the URL and get a summary of a very long video, and then you can go about your work more quickly. So very helpful, I thought. So summarize a YouTube video, definitely a great reason to subscribe and have that plugin. And you can see, when it got past the first part, it said, let's fetch the next part of the transcript for a more detailed summary. And then it uses VoxScript and gets the next part and describes what everyone says in the video. I just thought it was a fantastic plugin.